Okay, hello everyone. My name is Arthur Donaldson. And so I've always been fascinated by the universe around us, and gazing up at the stars as a kid, I always wondered about life, what it is made of, and how it works. And I started my studies by specializing in physics and chemistry. Strangely enough, however, I soon found myself going down a completely different path. I ended up going to art school. Sorry, Mum and Dad. And I went on to study visual communication and media design at the University of Art and Design in Geneva. Although I left the field of scientific studies, I always tried to infuse my interests of physics, biology, and chemistry into my projects. And today I would like to share with you one of my smallest projects, extremely small to be precise. In fact, it's so small, it's around and inside all of us. In December of 2014, my university set up a workshop with Idea Square at CERN, the European Organization for Nuclear Research. Now, needless to say that for me this was a dream come true. I never thought I would be working with the physicists from CERN in my line of work. And though here it was, this was the perfect opportunity for me to blend my interests with my studies. So the point of the workshop was to imagine new technologies and new interactions based on the latest discoveries in particle physics. That sounded pretty cool. However, diving further into the workshop, it felt like we were missing a step. We haven't even yet gotten close to understanding particle physics, that we're already supposed to be working on new projects that try to englobe future technologies that are derived from the theory of particle physics. That's when I thought, okay, not many people understand what is being studied at CERN, and there's one main reason to that. It's super complex. I mean, we're talking about particle physics, right? So that's when I decided to take on one of the craziest endeavors. I wanted to create a game that could explain particle physics to anybody who plays it. I wanted to create a game that would show to the outside world what the CERN is playing with daily. And I wanted to create a game that could explain what our universe is made of and how it works. So this is when I created Massive, a game of four forces. So what is this? Now to answer that, you need to understand two things first. One, everything you see around you and everything inside of you is made up of very small building blocks called particles. And two, all of these particles have rearranged in this strange universe of ours by obeying four fundamental forces. That is the strong force, the weak force, the electromagnetic force, and gravity. Now, Massive is basically a card game where the various cards of the game represent the various particles in our universe. And the interactions that can happen between the cards in the game obey the four fundamental forces of our universe. So trying to create a card game that explains the interactions of particles at such small scales is hard. But the same as any other topic, the best approach is to start small. So the goal of a game of Massive is to build your own atom from the ground up by combining particles. Thus, the interactions are simple in the beginning and grow in complexity when more particles come into play. And the more the player collects particles, the more he advances in the periodic table. And at the end of the game, the person with the most massive atom is the person who wins the game. There are two options that are given to the players each turn. One may build particle systems to add to their atom using quarks and leptons. When adding more and more particles to an atom, the player will have to take into consideration new concepts such as nuclear stability and the atom's electrical charge. But one may also gain particles a different way. One may attack the opponents to steal particle from their atom and defend against incoming attacks using the four forces. And the more the player becomes familiar with the way the laws work, the more they can be used to his advantage. Now you may notice that from the four forces mentioned before, there are only three represented here. We have the strong force, we have the weak force with its positive and negative version, and then we have the electromagnetic force. But gravity is nowhere to be seen. Well, that is because gravity actually has no relevant impact at such small scales. However, during a game of Massive, it may take effect at different bigger scales. For example, forcing the players to exchange seats, therefore you end up working on an atom that you were not building on originally. The whole game is then governed by the main timeline. The timeline, that is defined in length by the players themselves at the start of a game, will set how long a game will be. And this timeline is populated with event cards. So event cards are inspired by different cosmic phenomena, such as black holes, wormholes, cosmic rays, temperature changes, and more. And these event cards will take place at the beginning of each new round, forcing the players to readjust their strategies depending on what came out. So dealing with such big concepts and distilling the rules of our universe into a card game is hard. But with the help of the physicists at CERN, we are developing the rules of the game together to ensure that the gameplay stays true to reality and that what may happen in the game is something that can actually happen in our universe. Most often, though, it is the abstract math and the weird alien-like scribbles that get people to shy away from particle physics and to run the other way. So instead of keeping that, I have reworked it, designing shapes, playing around with the colors, trying to create a simple, comprehensible visual language that can help the players understand how things work, what is possible, and what is not. To accompany the physical card game, I am working on a responsive website that would contain all of the rules of the game, and as well as having them out in a written format, the plan is to have 1 minute long videos, animated videos, in the style of how-to videos, which would help the players see the interactions in real time and understand exactly what is going on underneath. Currently, the rules of the game are incomplete and still need to be finalized, so I will be entering a testing phase soon, to be able to get as much feedback as possible on how things can be made clearer or what may be missing. And in the near future, I'm hoping to find, of course, some funding or to crowdfund the project in a certain way. And that way, I would be able to set up a website where people can buy the game with the beautifully printed cards, or even download the PDF of the cards for free. That way, anybody can get access to the game and understand a little bit more of this beautiful universe of ours. Also, there is a huge space to explore. Now, the game I'm currently working on covers ordinary matter, which is only covering 4% of the total matter of our universe. But I'm already working on expansion packs, which are exploring new kind of particles, such as antimatter or supersymmetry, or perhaps down the line there could be an expansion pack for dark matter, depending on how well the physicists can figure these things out. And perhaps even the teachers could print these cards and take them to school, so that would be kind of nice. If you are interested in, well, it's supposed to be a little Facebook logo there. If you are interested in checking this game out further, you may, of course, find the page on Facebook. And for any further questions or interests, you may find me at the stand, and you can come and talk to me personally and check out the game. I hadn't totally finished, but I just wanted to say that entering that workshop in 2014 was for me one of the biggest coincidences in my life. I never thought I would be running back around to physics so soon. But with the studies I have done today, I do believe that the future of good education relies in the creation of games, books, and media through a tight collaboration between teachers and designers. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Patrick, for your speech. It was very, very nice. Do you have any question?
Thank you so much. Great speech. It's really, really, really good.
Thank you.
I was wondering, is it working? Yeah. Okay. Physics is changing a lot nowadays. I mean, every 5 years I say, oh, by the way, we were wrong. The particle there is not like that. It's like that. So, if we buy the game, can you ensure that at least in a couple of years the physics will stay the same and we will not learn something wrong?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a very good question, actually. And for the moment, the game relies on something which is called the standard model. And the standard model is the most accurate and most true to reality kind of description of the universe that we have so far. So as far as we know, and from the standard model, we've been able to understand things such as the Higgs boson and things like that. So I really do believe that at least for now, or for quite a few more decades, the game will still be true in that sense. However, with the upcoming of quantum field theory and things like that, it's true that there probably will be changes in the future, but this is exactly something I'm working on with physicists to ensure that at least the basics of this, of the matter that we understand in our universe here, will at least work. So, yeah.
So you will release a version 2.
Yeah. Who knows? Who knows? Yeah, the expansion packs, but normally the base pack should not change much. That's something that they've told me, which is normally to be guaranteed in a sense.
Another question?
Hello. I was wondering if you were thinking of changing the laws of physics a bit to allow players to experiment with how the universe would go wrong if gravity was as strong as electromagnetism or whatever.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, one of the interesting things, the feedback I've received from the physicists so far is that they really enjoy this game because it's forced them to actually look at physics in a new way. Actually not trying to understand from the analysis they make from the Large Hadron Collider what actually happened at the start. But here we're looking at it a different way. We're actually taking the particles ourselves and recombining them together, and we have to understand how the rules work the other way round. So if there would be the possibility to change the forces around in the game, I haven't yet thought of allowing that inside of the game, but it could, of course, potentially be something interesting for the future, yeah.
You speak a lot about your public. You speak about school, with teacher and this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But did you have already thinking about more people like that, larger one? For example, I don't know, your mother and this kind of people, you know?
Well, it's definitely true that my mother has had enough of this game, I think, because I've played with her. I've played with her enough. But it seems like I don't want to do this mistake of going towards like this specific group of people and try and suddenly make it large to please everybody. The whole point is to make sure that it works very well for people that are interested in physics and want to know more about physics, and then the rest of the group will follow and then come and see it if they're interested. But I can at least guarantee that after 1 or 2 games, the average person has understood how the rules of the game work and now understands a little bit more on how the universe is made and how it works.
Thank you. If there are no other questions, okay. Thank you.
Okay.
I give you your attestation for your participation. So the next special student, I think, doesn't need a lot of introduction. He comes from ARC, and we'll talk about a game that has been developed in the collaboration with multiple universities. And he will talk about not 1, not 2, but 3 serious games that they have developed. Stefan?
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much, Stefano. Sorry.